Okay, so here is an unpopular opinion about horses misbehaving in situations like veterinarian's visit or farrier's appointments or different what I call real life situations. If you have a horse or a donkey or a mule who doesn't like veterinarians or doesn't like farriers or who maybe doesn't like specific situations like injections, so your horse probably doesn't mind the presence of a veterinarian, but once the veterinarian comes close with a syringe, then there's a problem. Or other situations like deworming or your horse or equine may not like their eyes being handled or something like this, a specific situation, a specific procedure. You may want to label your equine's behavior as misbehavior or label your equine as naughty, spoiled, or disrespectful, or dominant, or testing your leadership, testing your skills, your dominance, your position, like alpha position, or something like this. But the truth is that none of this is actually true. None of this actually describes what is happening inside your equine's head. And the word that describes it a lot better is that if an equine behaves like this, they are not dominant or spoiled. They are unprepared. They are unprepared to handle such a situation in a calm, cooperative manner. Hi, you are listening to the very first episode of the VetCareTraining Podcast. I'm Dr. Katerina Junghanzová. I am an equine veterinarian and cooperative care enthusiast, and I'm your host in this podcast. I teach horse owners and equine professionals all around the world how to take care of their equines or their equine patients more safely, easily, and without unnecessary stress for everyone involved. I teach techniques like evidence-based handling and cooperative care so that the owners or the equine professionals can help horses or equines in general get more comfortable with situations like veterinarian's visits, farrier's appointments, or specific procedures such as injections, deworming, or whatever the equines have issues with. So this is what my work is about, and this is also what we are going to be discussing in this podcast. So welcome again, and now let's dive into this topic. So if you have an equine who, quote, misbehaves in situations like vet procedures, it isn't because they're naughty or disrespectful, but most likely they're unprepared. The equine simply doesn't understand. They don't understand what to expect, what to do, what behavior pays off in a given situation. Or maybe they get unpleasantly surprised by a painful or stressful procedure and they create a negative experience. But this negative experience will affect the way they will see this situation next time. And of course, it will affect the way they will behave next time, because whenever you or your equines go through a stressful situation, next time they will try their best to avoid the situation. And this is what many equines do when we describe them as animals who don't like veterinarians. So if you are listening to this podcast, if you follow my work, if you follow me on social media, you are probably someone who wants their horses or their mules or their donkeys or their hinnies to have the best quality of life possible. You are most likely someone who wants your equines to always get the best level of care possible. And if you have an equine who doesn't like veterinarians or farriers, you might start thinking, okay, what can I do about this? I don't want to force my equine through this situation. I want to help them feel more comfortable. And that's great, because this is what it's all about. We cannot really force anyone to cooperate, right? These are completely different things. We cannot force anyone to cooperate. We can force them to comply. And this is what often happens. But let me say, this isn't always as effective as it looks like, because in the case of simply punishing the horse's bad behavior or unwanted behavior, we deal with the symptoms and not with the root cause. And the root cause usually is stress, and there is a huge portion of learning involved as well. I might be talking about this in a different episode because this is an interesting topic on its own. But yeah, so if we only focus on punishing, or we often call it correcting, the unwanted behavior, what happens is that we are not dealing with the root cause, but with the symptoms. And oftentimes we deal with the symptoms in the way that we literally sweep them under the carpet. Imagine that you have some mess in your house and you just sweep it under the carpet. But what happens is that it starts accumulating. Okay, this is another thing. I'm not gonna dive into this rabbit hole right now, but I will make sure to pull this topic out in one of the next episodes, because this is a really interesting thing, an interesting concept to understand. So the way of how we can deal with these problems is to help our equines feel more comfortable. And how to do this? Get them ready. Get them ready. Okay, let me tell you a story. Let me use an example. Let's imagine that you are a school child, a primary school age child, okay? And you don't know how to read yet. But there is a teacher who, for some reason, decides that your task right now will be to read a full page of a book, right? With all the small letters, and the page is full of these letters. And I'm sure you remember that when you started learning how to read, there was like 1 or 2 letters per page and a lot of pictures to help you illustrate the whole picture and understand the letters better. But there is a page full of text, and for some reason, the teacher decides that you should read it right now. And they go, okay, read this page. And you look at the page, you don't know what to do, because you look at many different symbols and you do not know what they are. You maybe recognize like letter A or something, but that's it. And you just stare at the page. And the teacher goes, oh, now you're being disrespectful. Read that page. And you look at a page and you might start, figuring out some words or something. But of course, it is not what's written on the page. And the teacher goes, now you're making fun of me, okay? Just read that freaking page, you stubborn idiot. Okay, let's clarify one thing. This is an imaginary teacher. I hope there are no teachers like this anymore. But let's say this happens and you're not making fun of this teacher. You are not trying to avoid reading because you are stubborn or because you are an idiot, because clearly you aren't. But what is happening here is that you don't know how to read. You don't know how to read yet. You cannot read it because you haven't been trained to read before. Do you understand the concept? So now that your teacher is yelling at you, you start crying. And the teacher goes, oh, look at you. What a drama queen you are now. So you get the idea of someone being pushed through a situation they are unprepared to handle. And this is what oftentimes happen to our horses. And of course, they don't start crying. They start trying to get away from the situation that is stressful for them. Let's come back to you as a school kid, and let's have a look at the teacher's behavior once again. So certainly this approach will not help you learn to read, okay? Yelling doesn't help you understand the letters. And it certainly doesn't help you start loving reading. It doesn't help you start viewing reading as a thing you would enjoy or as a thing you would really love because you could read this amazing story or because you could learn about something that you are interested in, such as horses. So punishment certainly doesn't solve the problem. Neither it helps anyone get comfortable with a stressful situation. And this is what I want you to remember anytime you find yourself in a situation when you have to handle a non-cooperative horse. The horse isn't stubborn. The horse isn't being a drama queen. The horse isn't disrespectful. The horse is just stressed. And the horse probably doesn't understand. Okay? So, if you want your horses or your equines to always get the level of care they deserve, so the best level of care possible, get them ready so that they can handle these situations without unnecessary stress. Now, let's have a look at this from a different point of view. Let me ask you a question. Would you put a saddle on a completely green horse, young horse, for the first time, assuming that the horse instantly becomes a safe riding horse? Or that it will be okay because you are an experienced rider, an experienced trainer, and you can ride the horse through whatever challenge. Okay? So would you do it? Would you then take this horse to the show right away because you are a skilled rider who can ride them through? Would you do that? I think you wouldn't do it even if you were an experienced trainer, especially if you were an experienced trainer, because if you are experienced, you know that you would most likely set this horse up for failure rather than for success. And you know that it could possibly affect your safety and your future relationship with the horse. So I think the answer to my question is clear when it comes to riding and horse training. We see the process of education a horse to become a safe riding horse or a competition horse. But we often don't see this process when it comes to taking care of our horse's health. We assume that the horse will instantly know how to behave and what to do, and that the horse will naturally understand the situation. But the truth is that the horse is learning in the same way, whether you are training them as a riding horse or whether you are cleaning their wound or whether you are trying to apply the deworming or an ointment or whether your vet comes to give your horse an injection. Okay, and the same applies for donkeys and mules. Whenever I say horse, I mean equine because I know that some of you guys may have also other equines like donkeys, mules, hinnies, and it's the same thing. So we often assume that it is natural for the equine to know what to do and to stay calm in situations like vet procedures. And then when the horse doesn't stay calm, then we think, oh, the horse is disrespectful. Oh, the horse is naughty. Oh, he's dominant. But the truth is, they're unprepared. So if you want your equines to get the best level of care, get them ready. You can literally train your equines to cooperate in their care. And by the way, it is called cooperative care, and it is what all my VetCareTraining project is about. So if you're interested in this, check out the links below this episode and learn how to help your horses or your equines feel more comfortable in situations like vet procedures or vet appointments or farriers appointments, okay? So yeah, the truth is that we can set our equines up for success by getting them ready for the basic procedures, basic real life situations they may go through in their life. And I think we should. I think we should really consider making cooperative care our regular practice, because it doesn't matter what kind of horse or what kind of equine we have. It doesn't matter if we ride or not, if we compete or not. But what we all have in common as owners is to make sure that our equine gets their health care. So that's why I, as a horse owner and also as an equine veterinarian, I see cooperative care or getting horses ready to handle vet visits without unnecessary stress as an essential part of the education that we should be providing to them to get them ready for the human world, for the real life situations, really. And that's why I created this project, VetCareTraining, that is dedicated to helping horse owners and equine professionals to learn how to handle their horses or their equines or equine patients in general without unnecessary stress, without unnecessary force, and to learn how to possibly train their equines to cooperate in their care. The truth is that we cannot just get our equines used to certain procedures or certain situations. We can train them to cooperate, and we can teach them that they can give us their consent. We can teach them the concept of the consent-based care, which is so powerful, and it increases their willingness to cooperate so much. And also, it helps them understand whatever situation they go through. It helps them trust us and build an amazing relationship. So you can literally take these possibly stressful situations, such as vet procedures, healthcare procedures in general, daily care or some special care that your horse needs, or vet visits or farrier care, and turn them into trust-building tools, which I think is amazing. So if you are interested in getting your horses ready for their care and helping them feel more comfortable, check out the links below this podcast. I have a free online course called The Introduction to Equine Cooperative Care, where you can learn the basic principles. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you're listening, and I hope to see you in the next episode.